everybody, my name is Kathy and thank you so much for coming to my channel, Crafty Kathy. Today I have for you 6 Dollar Tree Halloween DIYs. I feel like I'm a little late to the game with the Halloween DIYs, but to be honest, guys, I have been working on this video for like 2.5 weeks, and there's been sickness in the family, you know, and just different things going on, and I'm so sorry that here we are, October the 6th, and I'm just now getting this video put out. But as usual, you know that I put my heart and soul into it. One of my videos, or one of my DIYs, actually got ate up by the cloud or something. I do not know what happened, but it would not let me pull the footage so I could show you the DIY. I show a picture of it, but I don't show you making it. So anyways, that's kind of what's been going on my end of the world. Plus, it's raining cats and dogs here in Tennessee, and I've been wanting to do this intro and dress up. I told you guys I was going to dress up and make it just a big shebang, but it kind of went really quick. So anyways, we'll sing our silly little theme song, and then we're going to roll into the DIYs. So, I found my executive producer in the back, and yes, he's Mickey and I'm Minnie, in case you guys didn't know. And we're going to sing our silly little theme song. Are you ready to sing the silly little theme song? It's been tough, ain't it? I know. But on our channel, we got love and laughs and DIYs. We got love and laughs and DIYs. We got some love and laughs and DIYs. We got love and laughs and DIYs. Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo, baby. And Pugs and Mickey Mouse attire. Hoo-hoo-hoo, Sammy. Yeah. Now let me show you what I've been working on. Welcome everybody to my Halloween DIYs. For DIY number 1, we're going to make this cute little Bow Wreath. I have this round from Dollar Tree, and it has a pumpkin on the other side, but I wanted the back side. I sanded it down really good, and I gave it just one coat of my home decor black chalk paint. Guys, y'all would never believe what happened. After I made the intro, and I told y'all that the cloud ate one of my videos, well, last night, as I was finishing up my video and I was running behind, it ate all of my videos, and this is the second time I've had to go in, re-edit this video, and it usually takes 8 hours to edit one time, so I'm so sorry. There is a couple pieces missing, but we're going to get through this. I put down 2 pieces of masking tape, and then I was trying to cut one piece because I wanted a slimmer line, and I was like, what am I doing? All I needed was the line, so I came to myself and put it down the right way because, okay, you'll see what I'm doing here. See, look, I was trying to cut that line in half. Like, why do that instead of just make it a little bit closer? You see what I'm saying? I'm such a nut. And I used my folk art vivid orange, and I had to give this thing 4 coats to get over that black color. I dried it between each coat. Okay, there's only a couple of small clips missing from the videos, but like I said, we're going to get through this. But this is the second time I've had to edit this. My heart's broken, guys. I've been working on this video for a week and a half, 2 weeks, trying to get this Halloween video to y'all, and here it is, like the 7th, you know, and I don't have my video out, but oh my goodness, y'all. Just pray for me. I really need it. And look how beautiful and crisp and vivid. That's why they call it vivid orange. Look how beautiful that is. I have these 3 little ghosts that I had already painted white. They're from Dollar Tree, and I just put them where I wanted them. Here I'm playing with different bows. I finally figured that the bow that I liked was my little finger bow. You know, where I hold my 2 fingers and I go around my fingers about 5 times and I pinch it in the middle and then I tie it off, and it just makes a little, some people call them little shoestring bows. You see the last ghost has it. That middle ghost looks like he has a punk rock hairdo going on there, because I was going to do the little bow that I make, the finger bow, where I cut the little loops open. And then look at the way he looks like. He looks like a hard punk rocker from the 80s, doesn't he? So I didn't like that, so I just went ahead and changed all the bows up. Hey, at least I can still laugh about this. I'm not kidding, y'all. I have cried. It upset me so bad. There was a couple little spots where the orange did kind of leak under that tape. So I just took my black Arteza chalk marker and colored it in, and you can't even tell. It looks just like the paint. Okay, and here I am fixing up the little bows. I'm putting, just gluing them down. See, there's my finger bow where I wrap it around my fingers 5 times, pinch it in the middle. And now all 3 ghosts are going to have the correct little bows on their head. I went to my Cricut and I printed off Hey Boo. I do not like going with what everybody else goes with. I like being different, but hey, honestly, I could not think of anything else to put, like a cute little saying. I know everybody's using Hey Boo and Hey Pumpkin, but I was like, you know what? I don't know any other one. So we went with Hey Boo. All these pieces go to my 3-year-old grandson, and he's absolutely going to love it. So the saying doesn't matter because he can't read yet anyway, even though he is a genius. But anyways, we got Hey Boo. I've been really working on my bows, and I did a really good one on this one. I wrapped it over 6 times, and then I made 2 small slits on the sides. Then I'm going to take my tie wrap and run it over the bow, but not pull it all the way down, because I made a little round, looks like a finger, and it's going to slide right over that tie wrap. I call them tie wraps, but there's an actual word for them, and I don't remember what they are, but you can look and see what it is. And I pulled the tie wrap all the way tight. I fluffed my bow, and I was proud of myself because it usually takes me 2 hours of fluffing. It took me a few minutes. I put my bow down, and I took one of the little wooden jack-o'-lanterns that comes from the Dollar Tree, painted it with the vivid orange, and put it in the center. Then I took my black Arteza chalk marker, and I outlined my ghost. It really made their eyes pop, and I like to outline everything because it makes everything pop and kind of stand out. Arteza sent me this load of paints and markers, guys, and I'm so proud of that. Their chalk markers are the best I've ever used. And I did stitching where it looks like stitching on the word Hey Boo. And here I'm taking my black Arteza chalk marker and I'm tapping it against my finger to like make splatters. And I'm doing that with the orange one too. I should have used a paintbrush. It may have, not splattered as much. But that's okay because it turned out beautiful. I was just too lazy to do it with the paintbrush. I took my white chalk marker and I made stitches all the way around my sign and around that orange part down there. I'm really into stitches lately. I really like the way that looks, and I'm like, why haven't I been doing this all along? I mean, I do it occasionally, but I'm really into the stitching lately, especially now that it's October and then Christmas coming up. I love stitches on everything. So guys, that was it. After I splattered it, that was it. I hope you guys like this one. All right, for DIY number 2, we're going to make this trick or treat sign, and it's going to look like candy corn. I love this. I got this from Dollar Tree. I wanted to paint each letter a different color, and my pattern was white, yellow, orange. So my first one is white, my second one is yellow, and I used all acrylic paints on these. And my third one was the vivid orange. That vivid orange is really a pretty color for Halloween. And I used a color called Daydream Yellow, and the white was just white. Now here I am at the end when I painted everything. I did do the word or black because I wanted it to be something to be different. And on everything that's white, I dipped the end of my paintbrush in the orange, and I'm going to make polka dots on everything that's white. I did something different to each letter. I took my white chalk marker, and on everything that is, or the word or, I made polka dots on it also. And then since I already had my white chalk marker in hand, everything that's yellow, I made straight lines going up and down. Then I thought, since these Arteza chalk markers were so good, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to use them. So I finished off my orange polka dots. Instead of using the paint, I used the chalk markers because it saved me a lot of time. And then I finished off my white lines. And then I splattered again. I splattered with the orange and I splattered with the white. And then I took the black Arteza marker and I splattered with it. And I also, on everything that was orange, or the I and the E, I made squiggly lines going across. So when all the letters had their colors, this is what it looked like when we were finished with that. The polka dots, the lines, the squigglies, and the splatters. Then I took that JB Ranger's Distress Oxide, and it's called Weathered Twigs is the color I use. It's a light brown. And I took my little chippy brush. I went all the way around the perimeter of this sign. Just on the outsides here, but all the way around the perimeter. And this was recorded in slow motion for some reason, so I'm going to try to speed it up. The last part here is where I lost my footage. I had bought a canvas frame from the Goodwill, and I took it apart. We did a reverse canvas method where I pull the staples out. I painted it black, and then we're going to put it back together with Trick or Treat on the top. And I just put my sign on this black canvas frame and added a couple of those little Dollar Tree bats and some white Dollar Tree ghosts. I'm so sorry for losing this footage. I don't know what happened. Like I said, the cloud ate it. It said my phone storage was full, and I mean, it just took and erased almost just many pieces of this video. And guys, I've worked so hard on this video. I cried and cried like a big baby. I've never had so much trouble with a video since I have started YouTube. And I'm so sorry, but you get the gist of what I've done here. And I hope you can see, just in case you want to make these last minute things. But hey, it's like the 11th hour, so I'm not sure anybody will. This next one is my favorite. It's a creepy old hand holding a globe that's got a person trapped inside of it. Don't ask me how I come up with these things. I've got this crazy hand from the Dollar Tree that looks decrepit and terrible, and I decided what to do to make it look like it's clutching that globe is to cut the fingers off at the joints. So I cut the fingers off at the joints, and I glued them back, but I glued them at an angle going upward, and it had so much glue on it, and I was afraid that it was going to show and it was going to look terrible, and I wasn't even going to use it until I finished with the DIY. This is one of those things that I tell you guys, trust the process. Trust the process. Because when it was done, you couldn't tell that I had so much glue on it to hold the fingers together. But if you'll look, I pretty much, that finger is almost standing straight up. Or not standing, but almost clutching straight upward, just like a clutching finger would be. And I had to glue it on that way and then glue the tip on. And then that very last finger, I created a thumb out of it, and I'll show you how I did that. But all of these, basically what I did was cut the two first joints off and then curl them upwards. See, and I'm putting a lot of hot glue. This one was really fun to make, but the whole time that I was making it, I thought this is not going to look good at all until I got it finished, and it looks great. I mean, it's my favorite. So like I said, you just have to trust the process. See, I cut the first two joints of the fingers off and then just glued them in a way where they would be kind of clutching upward. And I wanted one finger to kind of still be pointing, which that's that pointer finger there. You see there, it looks like a clutching hand now when it just looked like an old rickety butt hand whenever I first bought it. It was just, you know, it just didn't look good. It was awful looking. Now here's how I did the thumb. I pretty much had to cut it completely off. I tried not to. I tried to cut it and then glue it here where it would just stand up. Or, you know, not stand up, but kind of clutch, you know. And it would not do it. It just kept falling down. And I did have patience, and I held it the whole time until the glue dried, but it just was not going to do. So I took the finger completely off here, and I just glued it upward the way it should be. I took it outside. I did not have any cream-colored spray paint, so I just used white spray paint, and I painted it. And now I've got this color by Home Decor, and it's called Bavarian. It's kind of a creamy yellow color, and I just gave the hand one coat, and it's not even a full coat. It's just kind of a little, you see how I'm doing that? Just kind of a little wishy-washy. It's not a perfect coat. I painted the front and back side of this hand. I had to repair a finger in the middle because it was it wasn't glued on good enough, and I was afraid it was going to come off, so I just re-glued it. I took my the Waverly Antique Wax, and I ran it all over that hand. I added a little bit of water so it would run down in all of the little creases of the hand and all of the little joints. It really looks like an old dead hand. And I painted the whole thing with the Waverly Wax. And then, when it was almost dry, I took a baby wipe and wiped most of it off. I still wanted a lot of that antique wax on there, so it would look like an old rickety hand. And guys, when this thing was finished, I was surprised. I mean, the way it started off and then the way that the fingers looked with all the glue, I thought, no, this is not going to look good. But I'm telling you, the paint camouflaged where I had to use so much glue, and I'm glad that I stuck through with it because this one was my favorite one. I took a little pack of fairy lights that I have, and I'm going to put it in the middle of one of those spider webs that comes from the Dollar Tree. It's those webs that have like 5 spiders in them, and it's the ones that you hang up in the doorways and stuff. I just kind of pulled it apart to make it look like a real web, and I stuck those lights right in the center of it. I'm going to wad it up and put it in my crystal ball. But first I'm going to paint my crystal ball. I just took some of the Home Decor brand white wax, and I used a paintbrush and went all around the inside of this little fish bowl. And then I took a baby wipe and kind of wiped it around, and it looked like a fog, or like, you know, smeared. I gave it a good dry. And then I just took and placed my lights and the spider web down inside of there. And I had pulled off of Pixabay that picture, and it is a picture of looks like a man that's trapped in fog or something I just printed it out on a regular computer and I cut it out. It's going to go in the front of this globe. I just slid it right down in the front. I had like a skeleton head that I laid in there and like a little skeleton leg from different pieces. And then I glued that fishbowl in the hand. And that was the end of this one. Let me know what you think. DIY number 4 is short and sweet. It's a vintage little Halloween sign on a pumpkin that has a clip where you can put a picture. I've got this little pumpkin that I got from the Dollar General. It's got a little clip on the back where you can put a picture. And I'm going to give it 2 good coats of chalk paint. I pulled the little girl in the pumpkin off of Pixabay and I just printed it on my printer with that water slide paper. We're going to do the water slide again. So I gave it 2 good coats and dried it in between. Then I took my decal and dipped it in the water for a minute. I wet the surface of the little white pumpkin. And then I laid the little girl on there and slid the paper out from under it and just dried it off. And that's all there was to this DIY. It was super simple. And I love vintage Halloween pictures. I think they're so pretty. And you can put a picture or whatever in the back with your clip. DIY number 5 is easy too. It's a candy jar with a witch on the front. I took a ragu sauce jar. And I'm just going to paint the lid black with my home decor black chalk paint. And I got these awesome Halloween napkins from the Dollar General. It has a witch on it and tombstones. So all I wanted was the orange part, the witch. I pulled it apart because it's 2-ply. And you know I don't like mine to be like a perfect square, so I put a little bit of water on it and kind of pulled it apart with my fingers so it would not be perfectly square. And then I just put my Mod Podge on my jar, and I don't put a ton of Mod Podge. I just put enough to get her to stick. And then I lay the image down. I lay the middle part of the image first, which was the witch. I laid it down and I took my saran wrap. If I can tell you anything about decoupaging, the most important thing is your saran wrap. You can get your wrinkles out with the saran wrap. It's just perfect. You can even use your fingers like I'm doing here to manipulate. If there are wrinkles, which there always is, you can get them out with your fingers. And I like this little Mod Podge roller, but you don't have to have that roller. You can even use like a cup from your kitchen, just anything that's rounded. And the most important part, like I said, is that saran wrap. So that's all I did, was get my image to stay on the front there. And I didn't want an image on the back. I thought what I was going to do is paint that instead. So once I got my image perfect with no wrinkles, I painted the back of the jar with my home decor black chalk paint. I gave it 2 coats and then I painted all around the rim. Then I took some twine and I placed it around the very top of my jar, and I wrapped it around 2 times and then glued it and cut it off. And I took one of those skeleton heads and one of my spider rings and glued that to the very top of my jar. And that's all I did on this one. It was easy. Wow, we're moving quick. Maybe because I've already edited this before. Hee hee. Just kidding. DIY number 6. This one is a beautiful Bow Wreath. And this is one of the pieces where I lost footage. What I did was make 20 bundles. And in this bundle is 4 colors. I've got orange, brown, green, and yellow. I cut each of those colors at 12 inches and then I just rolled it up. And there's 4 of those in each bundle. And all you do is roll it up and tie it with a chenille stem, and that makes your bundle. And I'm showing you here, I go to the 2 outer rings, and that's where I put my tie at, my little chenille stem. I just wrap it around like 2 times. There's 6 little areas there that you call a rung, and we're only going to use about half of those, about 3. Because I need space for my little boo sign. So what I did was put that one on the outer 2. This one's going to go on the inner 2. You see where I'm pointing? And each little area there is going to have 6 little bundles. So that's my second bundle, and it's going on the inside. I hope this makes sense. And here I'm pointing again. Now the next one, we're going to the upper 2 again. You just rotate. You go to the upper 2 and then the bottom 2. And you put 6 on each little area. So basically, if you wanted to do this whole wreath, you would need 36 bundles. But like I said, we didn't do the whole wreath and we used 20. So here I go again. I'm going to the outer ring again. And I wanted to show you this part because, like I said, I lost that first part. And I am so sorry, guys. I just feel like a dog. I don't know what else to say. I wanted to show you what I have been working on for you guys. But it just kills me that that the cloud is hungry or whatever's going on. My storage is full. I know that's my fault. But I don't know how to fix the issue once it happened. You know what I'm saying? And so when one bundle, or not bundle, but when one rung here is full and it has 6 pieces on it, it's gorgeous and it's just fluffy. You just use your fingers to kind of fluff up your rolls. And that's all they are, is you literally take them and roll them up. You just roll it. Here I show you that there's 6 rungs, and this is what the rung looks like when it is totally full and it has 6 on it. That's a rung that I'm pointing to. I know I keep repeating myself. Now here I am when I have half of the wreath done and we have 3 rungs left. I want to show you how full and beautiful this is. This was a total, it should have been 18 bundles, but I used 20 because I'm a little extra. And this is what it looks like. And there I'm showing you there's 3 left. So now we're going to decoupage this word boo. I got these from Discovery Outlet for 50 cents. It's these cute little Day of the Dead napkins. We're going to decoupage again. So when I pulled my plies apart where I just had the 1 ply, what I'm going to do is put my Mod Podge down and then just simply lay my napkin down. And of course I'm going to use my Saran Wrap. And I use my little Mod Podge roller and my fingers to ensure that there is no wrinkles. Now, every once in a while when you're working with something like this, you're going to get a wrinkle or 2. But it was okay in this case. It wasn't a big deal. But actually, this one came out with no wrinkles. But like I said, every once in a while, don't get down on yourself if you do get a wrinkle. I had to use 2 napkins to totally cover this area. And I used my Saran Wrap. I waited till this was 100% dry, and I took my little finger sander and went all the way around the edges to make sure that there was no napkin pieces left. And then in the middle where the holes are, the word boo, I took a nail file and just kind of popped it inside there and ran it around sideways to get any pieces of the napkin off. This is the best way to get the sides of your napkins off, is to make sure that you sand them off. It will come out perfect every single time. I could have used a smaller nail file. It would have helped me, but all I had was this big one. and hey, you use what you got. But I am going to get one of those small metal nail files, because for areas like this that are small, intricate areas, they work like a charm. Then I took my black chalk paint and went all the way around the perimeter of this so that the wood would not show and it would all be black. I took that white chalk writer from the Dollar Tree and I went and outlined this whole word with stitches. You know, I told you I'm into stitches lately. So I did the stitches, and plus it looks really cute for Halloween. I outlined all of my words, everything, because it just makes it pop and show up some more. I got this sign from the Dollar Tree. I guess it's like a banner. It's the skull head and the hats. So I pulled it apart, and it wasn't the right colors. So I thought the best way to do this was to take my Arteza chalk markers and color the skeleton, the colors that are in my wreath. I took one of those small skeletons that I got from the Dollar General, and I'm going to place him right in that last O in the word boo. I also took some brown mesh and ran it around those last 3 rings so the word boo would have something to stick to. I have a little wooden pumpkin, bat, and ghost that's from the Dollar Tree, and I painted them the correct colors with my Arteza chalk markers. Then I placed each one of those little wooden pieces in different spots on my word boo. And now I'm just going to use hot glue to glue the word boo on, because since I put that brown mesh and I just wrapped a whole roll around those 3 rungs, it's really going to stick well. I took one of those little skeletons from the Dollar General and set him in the last O in the word boo, and I'm just going to glue his bottom and his back down. And this is definitely going to my grandson because he's really into skeletons this year. He's only 3, and it's his first Halloween where he's really getting into it, and he's into skeletons. So I wanted it to be friendly. I raised its little hand like it's waving. And this is where I sand and paint my little head. And I think that the best way to get that head to go on the wreath and stay was to put it on a skewer. So I took a skewer and I just glued the head to the skewer. That way they can take it off if they don't want it on there. And that was the end of this little wreath. I'm so sorry that the first part was gone, where I couldn't show you how to measure out to make the little bundles. But I hope that if you want to make this wreath that you can understand how to. I'm telling you, this has just broke my heart. And for the last DIY, I had lost so much of the footage I couldn't show you except for the finished product. It's a little skeleton driving a truck with pumpkins and bones hanging out the back. I did put a bow on the top, and I placed him in a box that I found at the Goodwill, and I put a back on it. I hope you guys like this video, and I'm so sorry for the trouble that I had. And I will be seeing you guys very shortly. Sabby and I send you our love. And I promise you that the next video is going to be better. I love you guys.